What's up, ladies? Welcome back to another episode of For the Girls, where we are talking everything social media, the good, the bad, and the cringy, or as Cece calls it, the eye-rolling worthy parts of social media.
There's so many parts.
There's a lot to talk about.
It's a conversation to be had now. Social media is such a big part of our world now. It's
it's a part of our lives.
Yeah, and it's not going away.
No. It's getting worse.
Because I do need to stay in business. But no, there's a lot of really bad, dark, and cringy parts of social media. So before we started filming, we were kind of just having girl talking about it. I want to just start here because it's on the top of my brain. As somebody who is in a relationship, who loves to see Black love, who loves to see, relationships and just anything love related, it has been making me cringe seeing the content of individuals in relationships who are posting things that to me I think are very intimate. Like I think there's 3 questions I ask myself before I post something on social media, and it's, would I be embarrassed or ashamed if like my family or friends saw this? 2, if I had children and they saw this, what would they think of me? Mm-hmm. And then 3, does this go against any of my core moral beliefs or values? Mm-hmm. And the content that I'm talking about that makes me cringe is like the overly naked and sexualized either images or videos between couples. So as of lately, I even saw a reel the other day of a girl and a guy in the bed. They were like having sex. That it was under
what?
Yeah, they were under like a sheet. So, but like you saw, they're kissing, and it's like you see all the movements, and then they made it like a mental like message that was like, intimacy in a relationship, like giving like a tip or something. It's like no one's focusing on the tip when you're sitting here having sex on, and it's like because they're not showing anything, I guess they're like, oh, it's fine.
They didn't get reported.
But it's like obviously someone is only doing something like that for attention in hopes that it goes viral or whatever. Yeah. And then there's even ones where it's like the girl was like on top of him. She had on nothing but a thong, and it was a side view. So like his arm was blocking her nipple. But other than that, you see her whole situation. And it was like a picture, and he's like kissing her on the neck or whatever. And it's like, what would make you be like, let's set up the camera and capture this for the world to see? For what purpose? That is so weird. Like your intimacy with your person, to go out of your way to capture that. My question is why? Like I understand creating stuff where it's like, ooh, let's take some nice photos together so that we could maybe talk about our relationship, or
you're the branding expert. If their niche is relationships and Black love, where do you think the line
should be drawn? Yeah. I mean, I think if there's same thing, like if you're at a party, right? If you're at a party, you're not going to do a certain level of PDA in front of people. It's just a word called inappropriate. Yeah. So the same way that you are having individuals over and you wouldn't just take off your clothes and sit on your man like that and have him kiss you on your neck.
Oh my God.
Right? Like you wouldn't do that at a party. So why are you doing that for the world? Because the party, you have people who who love and care for you, who you intentionally are sharing your space with. You're now sharing this space with strangers all over the world, and you think that that's appropriate? To me, that's cringy. Yeah. Because it's like, what are you doing it for? What is the reason behind it? And the only reason could be that because it's so eccentric, people are going to pay attention and it might go viral.
Definitely eye-catching.
It's like, you're trying to push the boundaries, push the borders so that you could be different. And there's like fitness couples and stuff, right? I love seeing fitness couples work out and stuff. But why are you working out in your bra and panties and your man in like a freaking Speedo? And after you work out, you jump on him, he grabs your butt, and now you're making out. Like that's not a fitness video. Again, you're trying to stand out, and there's a outwardly
interesting
reward that you want. That's so weird. And I mean, so I would say that the number one thing as of lately that has been making me cringe is the over sexualized content that people are doing, specifically because I know that they're trying to go viral. They're trying to get people to see it, to share it, and be like, yo, what the fuck? Are they having sex? Like, it's the only reason why you would post stuff like that. And I think that it's petty to your relationship that you would go out of your way to create stuff like that and to share it. I just don't understand what it's doing. Yeah. It's weird. It's cringy. I don't like it.
I was just telling them that my cringy thing is when people like set up the camera and then just like they're bust out crying.
Oh my
and
God.
I feel like
That is the worst. It's like you obviously doing this for attention.
but I can't take my eyes away, but I'm like, I gotta go.
And the thing is, there's totally a difference if, like, let's say somebody's live, or if you're
Right.
doing a video and in the, like, if we're doing something like this, if we were
in the
talking about a
moment.
touchy subject,
Yeah.
and
That's
I
different.
end up crying
But
and
it's
I
just-
post that little snippet, that's different. But when people, you already got tears coming down your eyes, you
You're
sit
like,
up
"Let
there,
me
you're like,
record
wait, while this is happening, let me show everyone, because
I
this
feel like
is
maybe you should have took that moment
Yeah.
to gather
or to
yourself.
gather yourself.
Yeah.
And then,
And
I mean, I
instead of-
get authenticity. I
Yeah.
get transparency. All of that is wonderful. But I think when I'm seeing you're like crying, I'm like, oh my God.
It's like,
It's a
let's
lot.
keep our mental
yeah.
health in mind here.
Yeah.
That is not healthy,
Yeah.
because now
That one's a little
you
cringy
start
for
to
me.
create this reaction where you're doing that for a reaction of others.
Right.
People respond, oh, you'll be okay. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Now the moment that
like
you're
for
on your
attention.
own and you don't have that validation, you feel worse, and now you need it again. So now every time you have a real problem, you got to go live or on social.
Yeah.
That's super
It makes
weird.
no
Find
sense,
a
yeah.
real friend, like
yeah.
a therapist or
Yeah.
somebody that is
Somebody to talk to.
unhealthy.
What about
Yeah.
you with your cringy?
I have two that come to mind. The first one is people writing negative, like writing their opinions under people's captions, like where it's like, okay, we all have an opinion about something, but just because you have an opinion doesn't mean you need to express it, especially if it's negative. Those people, to me, are miserable.
It's called trolls.
Trolls. They're miserable, lonely people who just like if you have an opinion about something that I say, like maybe you don't agree with it, like you don't necessarily have to go out of your way to be like, you know what, bitch, you're fucking wrong, and this is why I believe this. Like, keep it to yourself. Like, you can think it, you can say it to
There's
yourself.
a way to give an opinion and not
Without
do that.
trolling,
Like,
yeah.
just being like, hey, I appreciate your opinion. Here's my thoughts or my experience.
Right. Like,
But I've seen that done
bash
before.
people.
bash people, and it's like you obviously have to be miserable. And if you feel so strongly about it, to your point, do it in a way that has some couth, that has some class. Like, you don't have to like.
Because most of the time, you don't even know these people.
You don't
Why do
even
you
know
care
these
so
people.
much?
Like, why is what I said bothering you so much? If it bothers
Don't
you,
follow me.
then get off my page.
Yeah.
Then get off of our YouTube. Like you don't have to view us.
There's
you
so
don't, you
much
don't have to
content
consume
out
our-
there.
right?
You
can
don't have
consume
to
what you
consume
want to
our
consume.
content. So that's one thing about like
definitely cringy.
Like people just feeling like they have to go out of their way to give their opinion. Like keep it to yourself, or tell it to your husband, tell it to your wife, tell it to someone who actually fucking cares.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one of them. And then the other one is people, I mean, just capping, like just doing fraudulent shit on the gram, just to have this perception of success, or this this perception that they're like living this life that they're actually not. Like, I know some people who do not live a real life
they show.
like what they show on the gram, like you know, they're showing this like lavish lifestyle. Like, shit, I used to talk to this dude before I met my husband, and he was like, he wore everything designer, everything flashy, everything exclusive. But all that shit was cap. Like, he would live paycheck to paycheck. He would scam. He would do whatever he needed to do just so that he could afford what he was wearing. Whenever we would go out to the club, he would pick up another nigga's bottle and take a picture with it. And, I mean, girl, it was bad. It was bad. When I saw that, I was like, I cannot talk to the dude anymore. Stuff like that. Or girls who go out of their way to take a picture in front of a car that's not even theirs, or
that's the funniest.
or just be this perception of who I think they want to be, but don't act, but go home either to like their mother's basement or go home, you know, like I live in a trap or whatever. It's just it's like that's fraudulent to me. So I just hate people living fraudulent lives. I mean, and we see it now. Like there were
it's bad for them, but it's also bad for the people who are seeing it
because
it's
they
making
think
other
it's
people
real,
feel less than. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I don't like. I just all the fraudulent shit that's going on in the world. Like you see, like now a lot of people are getting caught from like tax evasion. So like they live this lavish life, but come to find out they owe $30 million in taxes.
The IRS will use use your social media.
Oh, for sure.
To get you.
To get you caught up.
They'll get you.
Yeah. So like things like that. Like because I used to have a very unhealthy relationship, and in some instances still do. But it's a little bit different. Like when I was in my 20s, I had a unhealthy relationship because I was comparing myself to Instagram models. Like when I was toxic Cece and like her like early to like mid 20s, I wanted to look and live a life like an Instagram model.
Yeah.
And so I was comparing myself like to these girls who didn't actually look like that, right? So like
all edited photos.
Totally edited, or they went through like 5 different procedures in order to like get like that, which is like nothing wrong with plastic surgery. I'm not bashing plastic surgery. I'm just saying I was comparing myself to that at that time. And it was very unhealthy. I was becoming very shallow. I was becoming a bitch. I was becoming insecure. So there were so many things that for me had a negative effect on my mental health because of social media. I was doing things just to get attention from other people on social media, just to get likes, just to get followers. When I didn't get enough likes on my picture, it made me feel shitty about myself. Why am I doing something that I'm constantly like refreshing my page to see who's checking for me, how many people are liking me? Like, why did I need that external validation to make myself feel good? Yeah. That's unhealthy. I realized that early on, like in my 20s. And so that's why I think now when people come to my page, I go on these hiatuses. And it's because I'm still navigating
healthy balance.
My balance with social media, because I know that sometimes I can have an unhealthy relationship. Like prior to us filming, we were talking a little bit like how Bree mentioned, and one of the things that Bree doesn't like, so Bree does not, even though her business is around social media, she actually does not spend time on social media. She does not scroll social media like just like leisurely. She uses social media for a business. That is her platform for her business, period. I don't use social media like that currently, but I'm trying to transition myself to get there. Currently, sometimes I use social media as an outlet. Like how like people, binge watch Netflix. I will like binge Instagram, just like scrolling, like what are people up to? And that's unhealthy. It's very unhealthy. I could spend hours on it. Like I will be in the bed and I'm tired, but I'm just like just scrolling, social media.
This is the thing though. This is what social media was created to do, is 100%. To have people up, scrolling, doing whatever. That's its job. And that, kudos to them, right? The creators, the people who want to keep people around and want to, use all of our eye time and brain power. But, and this is why I told Dre, for me, it is a cringe-worthy conversation, because for somebody who, and I use like alcohol as an example, if you're like addicted to social media in a sense where the only thing that you're getting from it is negative things, like you're spending too much time on it, you're doing the comparison game, you are feeling less than or unfulfilled, or you're looking at what others are doing and kind of asking yourself, well, why can't I do that? Or why aren't I doing that? And if you're trying to like have a business or a brand, but you have this conflict of, I'm not going to put anything out there until it's perfect, or like I got to make it look away or feel away, or like I have to have this perfect strategy and plan before actually start.
And Bree's helping me with that.
And again, this is normal. It is so natural for people to feel this way, because again, that's what social media was set up to do, is to make us want to spend money, buy things, have things, want more, do more. And so the reason why I think it's cringeworthy is, with anything else, you have to create a healthy habit. And social media at its core is not healthy for us. It's not healthy to consume other people's curated lifestyles 24/7 a day. So the way that, even for me, like when social media first came out, I could tell the negative effects it had on me immediately. And so I was like, I have to be intentional about setting boundaries. I will not wake up and look at Instagram. I will not go to sleep, or I will not lay down and prepare my night on my phone on Instagram. So there's two things that I would say, if you at this point have an unhealthy relationship with Instagram, or social media in general, something TikTok's that has been worse. Phenomenal. Oh my God, yes, so worse. But something that has worked phenomenally for me is I don't sleep with my phone in my bedroom. So like I put my phone in my bathroom, and this way, you know, an hour, I usually lay down like an hour to 2 hours before I go to sleep. I don't have my phone in my hands. That means I'm not texting.
Because that way you can still have an alarm.
But listen though, this is the morning girl set you up right. So if you leave it in the bathroom when you get in your bed, I'm not saying come in the bed and like have your phone and then go put it in the bathroom. I'm saying when you go into your bed, when you are laying it down, reading a book, watching TV, doing whatever, leave your phone in the bathroom. Like the only person that you need to talk to is the person that's in your bed.
Right next to you.
Yeah. Or if you're single or dating or whatever and they're not there, like explain and communicate your routine with them and let them know like, hey, I'm calling, I'm about to lay it down, and put that phone away. Once the phone is away, now what you're doing for your brain and for your body is getting you into a healthier habit, a healthier routine of not allowing social media and these small snippets of curated content affect the way that you end your day. Like imagine what's in your brain before you go to sleep. If you're watching and scrolling all these things, you're going to sleep with insecurities. You're going to sleep feeling drained mentally because you're like, look at all the things I could be doing. Right. That's draining mentally.
Yes. And physically. You're not getting adequate sleep.
But then when you wake up in the morning, right, your alarm goes off. You are forced to physically get out of the bed. But because it's right there at your sink, you go in, and even to turn the alarm off, you look in the mirror, and guess what? That's you reminding yourself, it's time to start my day. Water on face, you're awake and you're up. And now you have no excuse for reverting back to whatever old habits you have. And because you're actually starting your day, the first thing you're not doing is picking up your phone and scrolling. Who wants to stand in front of their kitchen or in front of their sink scrolling on Instagram? You'd only do that if you're in bed, leisurely lying down. And even if it is like, okay, well, I'm going to look at my messages or do whatever, but you have to find a way to find balance. If you know something's not good for you, stop consuming it like it is. That doesn't make any sense. So to me, that's cringy. Stop telling me you want to do something, but you spend all of your time comparing yourself. You're not making any progress. And that's why I love the conversation me and you had when you were like, I realize social media does this to me, and I realize I have a great life, a great relationship, but I don't do it justice because I'm not sharing
That's what I was just about to say.
That's something that, you know, I really do want to kind of show my life more because, you know, you guys get me here, which is great. And I love this platform because it gives me a creative outlet that I can express myself, and you guys can get to know me, and it's with my best friends. So I love this. But also, like, I have a phenomenal home life. Like, I have a phenomenal husband. I have an adorable little girl.
And
we just bought a beautiful house. Like, I have hobbies and things that I love that I think other people would also enjoy seeing. But I think sometimes because I know my relationship with social media, I'm a little bit hesitant to share those things, you know, and so one thing that I really do appreciate, Brie, is like, this is something that Brie and I have been talking about for years. Like, sis has been like trying to like get me right for years. And one thing I told her I love and I appreciate about her is that she's never short with me. She has so much patience with me when I come to her with like the same thing over and over again. And she's like, okay, well, we'll do this. And one thing that she told me, which I really love, and I really encourage other people to do this, and I'll pass it back over to Brie for her branding hat, you know, but she told me that there are so many different tools in place that you can utilize that you don't actually have to log into Instagram, so that you're not tempted to like, okay, well, I did my post or whatever, like, since I'm here, let me just go ahead and scroll a little bit. Like, there are so many different systems, tools, and applications that you can link to your Instagram that allow you to only use Instagram in a strategic way.
Positive things that you're putting out, and you can stop consuming the negative things.
So you can, and it also helps you to like pre-plan things, to kind of set them up, to schedule them. If you want to engage with your audience, you can still do it in these secondary apps where you don't actually have to go into Instagram, so that you're not tempted. So like, as Bree said, there's so many different barriers that I think that you can put in place if you do find yourself having an unhealthy relationship with social media, like I do at times, to help you with that. If you do aspire to build a brand on social media, if you do aspire to start your own business, and you know that social media is a free marketing tool, and you really want to utilize it more, but you just don't know how to, or you just don't feel comfortable doing that. Right. There's so many different ways to kind of get around that.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I know we were talking a lot about the cringe and the bad. of Instagram. But I know part of the topic was the good. And I want to say, like, over Thanksgiving, when I didn't have anything to do, I was scrolling. But it made me happy to see so many, like, happy, even if it's just a facade, to see Black love and happy families and people coming together for Thanksgiving. Like, the positivity was, like, beautiful. Seeing friends from college and high school married with their young babies and enjoying time with their parents, and seeing a lot of my younger friends and the parents that I used to see when they were young being older parents and, you know, talking to their parents in a way that now they're in their adulthood. So I want to say that's a positive from Instagram. I love being able to see that, you know, positive things are happening in people's lives, and not necessarily the fancy cars. I'm staying for the fancy cars. I'm on the bench with the whatever fancy drink it is. But seeing that this girl I knew who was really cool had a baby with a man who, you know, seemingly treats her right. Now I know that on the flip side, I can be negative because people be like, I want that and I can't get it. And it's so easy for her to attain and I can't attain it. And I totally get that side of it. It's definitely this juxtaposition. But I will say it was just nice to see beautiful Black families cooking turkey, playing games. People had matching shirts and doing little TikTok dances. I was just like, that's beautiful.
It's definitely not all bad.
When you think about it, the immediate first goal of social media was connection. It wasn't to use it as a tool to build businesses, because when social media first came out, a lot of people didn't have businesses. It wasn't even a thing that people thought was doable. So I think that there's, same way, like I said, create a habit with your social media. There's times, or even a big change that I had to make. I went from having a assistant who answered all my DMs, all my comments and all of that, and I realized that it created a disconnect for me and my friends and my family, because they were assuming I was seeing their things, I was commenting on their life, and I would be in person and they would be like, how do you not know what it's about? I DM'd you, or, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't do my DMs. And so it's like, when I realized, okay, that is an unhealthy disconnect for me, because when I'm in person, I feel that disconnect and I don't like it. And so I was like, okay, well, how can I create a way to be engaged with my immediate close friends and family? And so the first thing I told, you know, my assistant was, do not respond to my immediate circle of people. Here's a list of them. Let me go in, and whether it's once a week or 3 times a week, I'll go in and I'll manage those relationships so I can feel that connection. But around holiday times, around people's birthdays, around vacations, I will go into Instagram and go to people's stories to kind of check in and to see like how they're, you know, what they're doing. We just talked about this with Cece after the Mexico wedding. They're going to Tulum.
I was like,
and
give me all the content.
Stuff on your
give me the content so I can live through you.
The connection part of social media is really good, but it's an issue if it becomes a daily thing that you're doing. And that's where the habit comes in. I think holidays, all that stuff, it's so good to be able to see random people who you don't actually know, or that you don't have relationship with in person because of where they live, or how long it's been since you last saw them. I think those things are great to stay connected for sure.
And you know, I mean, it's definitely, it's not all bad, right? So like, you know, in my scrolling, there's positivity in there, right? So like, a lot of the so I will also say I have 2 accounts. So
do you?
I do.
I didn't
know that.
Yeah, well, now you know. So
wait, do you follow us?
I follow you guys on Cece,
the main one
on Cece Costin.
Okay.
And then I have another one that I just follow, like the news outlets that I want to follow. I follow the fashion brands that I want to follow. I follow some of the influencers that I want to follow.
Right.
So it's a much more intimate account that is just like kind of like it's the algorithm is curated to what I want to view.
Right.
And so
that's smart.
And so that's one way that has allowed me to, like, you know, put some boundaries in place. But in my other account, I follow a lot of like educational things. So it's funny, like Shane and I actually get a lot of gems from Instagram. Right. Like we follow a lot of like financial accounts. So we get a lot of like not necessarily investing ideas, and we go out and do our own research, of course, which is, I would highly recommend.
Please double check what you see on Insta.
Verify anything that you see on Instagram or anywhere on the internet. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence. But sometimes we get these ideas from these accounts we follow, or like we get like, you know, you've heard this, like I learned this on TikTok. Like I actually get some good hacks from like Instagram or whatever. Like, oh, actually, I didn't even know that. Like, let me try that. Oh my God, it worked. You know what I'm saying? So like there is definitely some good in it.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that for me, it's just kind of like finding the boundary of like, okay, if I do want to give myself some time to just kind of like mindlessly scroll, like I don't have to do it for hours. Like I need to set healthy boundaries in place.
Or even instead of mindlessly scrolling, those pages that you mentioned that inspire you, that make you feel good, that give you ideas, like instead of just scrolling whatever, go specifically to those pages, see what they've posted, you know what I mean, and get that inspo. Even like for me, I do mindlessly scrolling when I'm in a space where I need to do like a new batch shoot of like photos and reels and things of that nature. I'll do it for inspiration, but again, if I did that every day, it would be a problem.
Absolutely.
But I would also say another benefit of social media is for the people who want to build brands and businesses and create extra streams of income. It is a free tool to be able to do that, and that's really awesome. But a tip for people who are trying to still stay on social media but like have some distance in between how easy it is to just get on there and do the mindless scrolling. If you look, you know, on your phone, most people have like 2 to 3 pages of like apps, right? So the first thing is to move where your Instagram app is, because the moment that you go in to find it and you realize it's not easily accessible, that's you reminding yourself and holding yourself accountable for the that. Like, do you really need to go on here? And do you really need to look at it right now?
Page, and I'm like, what? No.
And so like mine is inside of a social media folder. So it's like you gotta go slide, click, and then, you know, you gotta take like 3 clicks to get into it. And so that's another reason for me how I've been able to be consistent in remembering that, like, girl, you don't need to look at that, because it's not consistent with ease. It is it's a thought process that I'm like, by the time I hit the button twice, I'm like, I don't need it. I only need it when I need it. So that's been helpful. I know a lot of people, they delete the whole app, but it's like, just create accountability with yourself and put it in a place that's hard to get to.
I've tried deleting the whole app, and then I'll like re-download it again like the same day. So I think for me, it's not just about like eliminating it. For me, it's about building up the discipline of
like
how
fitness.
to use 100%.
Like when you were
nutrition,
when you initially taught Sean about Instagram and like keeping it up. Which, by the way, she did a fabulous job with my husband's Instagram.
Listen, I went on Sean's Instagram the other day. I'm like, damn, this shit look good.
Right.
Go follow our boy
Sean Delmar.
Sean Delmar Fitness.
Anyways, I remember one of the first tips you gave him was like, you have to treat it like health and wellness, like fitness. Like, you can't just do it once a week and expect to get results. So that could be easily done on the flip side. Like, you have to build up a certain amount of discipline. I remember my therapist, I was having a therapy session. This was after the shootings in Texas at the elementary school, Uvalde. And it was really like tough on me because I'm a teacher.
Yes, an elementary teacher at that.
Yeah, so, you know, like, the news and Instagram were like, boom, boom, boom. A teacher left the door open. A teacher didn't leave the door open. They went to a 4th grade class. And I was like so overwhelmed. I had to have an emergency session. And she was like, you know, stuff like that's out of your control. So you need to take it off your phone. And I was like, yeah, you know, I've tried that, but I will re-download it. She was like, okay, take it off your homepage and set a time when you're going to go. Not the oatmeal brie.
I'm so sorry. I'm hungry.
Lord.
You ain't have to call me out like that.
It was Cece. She was just like, I was like, but yeah, she said take it off like the banners on your homepage so you don't just click on it and it goes straight. So it's like when I get home and I have time to look through the news, because I look through the news every single day, it's an allotted time. So that was my tip that she gave me. Take it off your
I forgot
banners.
about that, because since social media came out, it ain't never been on my notifications. I don't
See,
get any alert.
It's on
like when you first download it, like I think it's like a pre-populated setting.
Take that off.
I wanted to touch on this. I wanted to touch on social media and relationships. So one thing that my husband and I did when we got into our relationship, I will have to give my husband kudos. Prior to us even getting together, but certainly after we got together, he did an audit of his social media. Like what was on his social media? What was he consuming? How was that affecting him? And so like prior to us getting together, and prior to him doing the hard work that he was doing before we got together, he followed a lot of hoes.
I thought you were gonna say, oh, okay. He followed a lot of hoes.
He followed a lot of hoes. So,
oh shit.
But before we got together, he knew that his relationship within himself and with women was not healthy, and so he was actually he went to therapy. He did all the things to kind of help him to like navigate that space and to become a different man, because he knew he wanted something different. Yeah. And so one of the things he started doing was he started unfollowing a lot of these hoes, and certainly when we got together, I mean, it's true.
I mean, hey.
And certainly when we got together, he unfollowed all the hoes.
All the hoes.
Not because I asked him to.
But he was already on the mission.
He was already on that. And so for him, it was like, you know what? This no longer serves me. I don't need this. I want to be with this chick. And like, you know, I feel very blessed. My husband tells me all the time, he's like, baby, you are my fantasy. So that makes me feel great, because like he don't need the hose, because honey, he got this. He
got you, yes, honey.
So he unfollowed anything that gave him any type of temptation to think about another woman, or to just visualize any other woman. And so that I loved that, because I didn't have to like ask him we didn't have to have that hard conversation of like, this makes me feel uncomfortable about your Instagram. And then it wasn't like, I was lucky in that sense. Yeah. And I did the same thing. Like he didn't have to ask me to unfollow all of these tall, dark, and handsome shirtless men. I did that on my own. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to give myself any reason to like, you know, be like, damn, I wish Shane did this, or I wish he would look like this. Like, no, like I love my man. I love everything about him. So I eliminated all that temptation. Nice. So like I found a lot of value in doing that in my relationship. So I think that like anyone out there, men, women, you really need to do an audit of what you're consuming. That's a great piece of advice. And make sure that that's healthy for you, for your relationship, your future, and like the goals that you have set for yourself. Because I think that definitely has, that has a lot to do. Our environment and what we consume has a lot to do with who we are as individuals. And then like go to a preview. I don't even remember which episode we talked about this, but it is a foundational conversation. Now, unfortunately, our parents didn't have to like sit down and be like, so how do you feel about social media? Like that's not something like we have to do that. And if you're not doing it and you're brushing it off, like it's not that serious. It's if both of you are avid social media users, it's a conversation that needs to be had in the beginning.
Yeah, in terms of like if you're sharing,
what are the boundaries?
What are the boundaries? Are we posting each other? Are we not?
What are you saying under people's pictures?
How do you engage? How are you engaging? Like who are you following? Like I would feel very uncomfortable if I saw my husband, my fiance, my boyfriend
under somebody's pictures with the heart eyes,
Instagram with a bunch of big booty hoes and thongs and like the titties out. I would be like, hello?
What are you consuming, sir?
You know,
right?
So
no, I think that it's an important foundational conversation and your expectations need to be communicated early on, because that's something that can get pretty messy. People will put you on your Instagram and then take you right down, and you're wondering why. It's just.
I'm always.
It's an extra variable of issues that could happen.
I like to have a rule that for me. Now, this is just my opinion, of course, but I think that until you are seriously
for sure
engaged, married, keep that part of your life private. Until you know that like this is like a long-term thing. If it's just like, your boyfriend situation.
Well, so Sean and I posted each other in the boyfriend girlfriend phase.
I did not post.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did
again, it's everybody's different. It's a conversation.
It's a conversation that needs to be had.
That's agreed upon.
I just think it has to be mutual, because I've seen plenty of times where a girl has her dude all up on her page. You go to his page,
nothing
it's like
of her.
Crickets.
Yeah.
or like, you know, crickets, and then like they break up and then she takes them off and they get back together and it's like
yeah.
and then now you got all these fucking random ass people up in your business.
Yeah.
So anywho.
Well, all right, so we talked about the good, we talked about the
Cringy,
bad, the eye roll worthy. Are we missing anything? Oh, I wanted to mention this because I will say, round of applause for social media, because one thing that I think is a major positive impact is the social justice issues.
Oh, yes.
And how people are showing up and supporting and
word
making
gets
sure
around
they're heard
faster
and all of that. But the other part, I mean, because there's also like cons to that too, but I think that when you're not, imagine like our parents and stuff, it took so much longer of a time to make change, whereas now we have so many ways to make change quicker.
Yeah.
But also when you think of like colorism and like body shaming and body positivity, like it has now become a thing where all shades of colors, all shades of women are beautiful, all shapes and sizes are beautiful and appreciated. And I think that that has given our little girls a better version of what beauty is.
I completely agree.
And it didn't start off that way.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
Everybody
it was definitely like only a certain
way.
type of woman was put on a pedestal. And there's still certain stigmas and like, you know, people have their own opinions, but it has done a really good job of showing that all shapes, sizes, and ages are beautiful and accepted. And I really have loved that outcome.
I do like that. I do agree with you on that. My only like playing devil's advocate about your first point about like the social awareness is that a lot of times though we do see people are like, you're in my thoughts and prayers, or my heart goes out, or let me know if you need anything.
That was a recent
and
thing.
then people just don't take any action.
Or false information gets spread around.
False information, or like people videotaping like people like literally bleeding out.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Where it was like people would rather just videotape something happening instead of actually
doing something.
Like these people, we are all humans. We are like, if you see someone who's in need, who's hurt, who's injured,
be a human first.
Be a human first. And don't be like, oh my God, look at this. Like,
exactly.
What the fuck?
It's insanity. But I will say, like, again, to Bree's point on the flip side, we've caught so many unjust things happening via something going viral. Something that in a little town somewhere in the South that wouldn't have made a difference because it went viral and all of America's now looking at these people. Now they're like, we gotta do something about it.
I mean, it's
also
great. It's a blessing and a curse.
That goes right back to the importance of boundaries, because like for some, when you mentioned this, being a teacher, seeing that news situation, it only like made you feel terrible, and you had no control of anything but receiving and having that information all day long probably put a damper on you, your emotional state.
Me and Sean got into it a little bit. I had to apologize to him because I was really struggling that week.
And I would say like I don't have a stomach for bad news, in a sense. Like I don't like hearing about bad things that are going on unless I would be in a position to make a difference. I don't really want to know about it if it's gonna only make me sad, disheartened, and emotional.
I just don't consume news and like because I already have enough going on in my own life. Like putting that into in my mind, in my space. I choose not.
Lily's back. Come here, girl. Wait, Lily, go up there. Go up there. Look at the camera. Come on, walk over. Look at the camera. Say hi. Hey. We're talking about social media.
Did you and Daddy go viral a few times on social media? Yes. Yes, you guys have gone viral like 3 times on social media.
She is so funny. She just knows she's cute. She's like,
I'm mad about that.
You can come back over here. We just wanted the people to see
we're wrapping up, girl. This is actually a perfect way to wrap it up.
And we shouted out Sean earlier and told everyone to go follow him. He's here. You still don't want a cameo?
No, I'm good.
Well, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, cringy, and eye roll worthy social media stuff. Comment below and let us know what things make you cringe, what your pros and cons are of social media. And then if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, mention that as well. Make sure to follow us at Relationship Restored, at Cece Costin, at Angela Hanna, and at Brianna Ponte. And you can get this little muffin on Angela's page or
Sean
Del Mar Fitness.
Here,
Say
you
bye,
gotta do the
Lily.
peace. Do the peace
Say bye,
sign.
Lily.